So you mentioned Hamilton, and he actually is my favorite founding father. You know, kind of questionable lineage coming from the Caribbean, maybe America's first immigrant. So,
well, John Adams called him, you know, it was a derisive name.
Yeah.
He said he was the bastard son of a Scotch peddler.
Exactly. It says a little bit about kind of who we are as Americans, that you could have Hamilton and the supercilious Adams in the same body. But I do want to talk about immigration, because we are a country of immigrants. We are made better by the fact that people have come from all over the world to be a part of us, believing where you came from didn't matter. What you want to do when you get here matters. And you've been pretty tough on immigration. I think everybody understands what was happening at the southern border. Can you talk a little bit about how one messages now the immigration narrative of America at a time when sometimes the pictures are of a different approach to clearly illegal immigration? But I go around the world, and people are worried. Is America still a place that you're going to be welcome if you want to come, if you want to be a part of this great experiment?
Yeah, so it's interesting. When I first became governor, you know, a very close race, right? We have probably the most diverse state in many respects. If you look at, you know, ethnically, regionally, I mean, you know, I know California, there's a couple others, but we're certainly up there. And, you know, one of the things I did was, okay, you know, I'm law and order. I want to do, we're not going to allow sanctuary cities, because I think what's saying, you see it now, how bad, you know, they think that they can be immune from federal laws that are on the books. I said, that's not happening in Florida. So I did it, and people said, you're making a big political mistake. You know, the Latino voters are going to revolt against you. They're going to hate it. And first of all, I didn't believe that, but I also knew, like, as a leader, I got to just do what's right for the state, right? And I'm willing to take hits if I have to. So we did it. We do it. Oh, you know, supposedly controversy. The media, they would like try to pull it, right? And every single time they pulled it, the #1 demographic in Florida that supported what we did were the Hispanic Floridians. They wanted to make sure that the rule of law was upheld. So I never bought into the idea that somehow if you do immigration enforcement, that somehow that was going to alienate. Because honestly, you know, when Biden opened the border, it was those border towns that suffered more than anybody. I mean, just absolutely overwhelmed. So I think we went from a situation where you were supposed to assimilate, and the immigration was supposed to be beneficial to the American people, into one where the border was open, I think, to fulfill a political agenda of the far left. I don't even know how much Biden even knew, you know, that was going on. But to do what they were doing, knowing, and another thing, you know, so we would have, when Biden was president, you know, I sent people to the border to help. You know, it wasn't as successful as we'd hoped, because the feds control so much. And so then and then we paid for transport, including Martha's Vineyard, which got news, right? Because obviously, you know, you do that. Most of it were people from Venezuela. So I was running for re-election. So I'm down in Doral, which is where we have most of the Venezuelan media. It's like, oh, the Venezuelans are going to be so mad. So I'm walking the streets out there, and these people are like, you the man, governor, because they saw Maduro trying to send people from jails and send people from prison to there. So the whole notion that somehow people that are Latino want illegal immigration, I'm telling you, that is not true at all. And so the situation is, okay, he had the border open. Are we just supposed to say that the laws don't matter anymore? And it can't be a one-way ratchet. I wanted to do more when Biden was, and the courts would say, no, it's a federal responsibility. You can't interfere. But how is it okay for the reverse? When the federal government wants to enforce the laws, but then California can just opt out, LA can just opt out, it doesn't work as a matter of the rule of law. And so I think that, you know, we did the thing. So basically, you know, we did this thing in the Everglades because we have an airport there. And so people can come and the feds fly them out. Oh, they were so upset about this. But the DHS said, we don't have enough places to process people. We need to do this. Can you help us? So we did. They'll reimburse you. So we did it. And the media, and I'm like touring this before they go in. And I'm like, they've got this, that, the other thing, like way, way more stuff than you would expect. And I'm like, you're really doing all this? Like, how much is going to cost? And they're like, listen, Governor, you know, we want to make sure, like, we don't want the media to be able to attack us and saying we're mistreating people. I said, they are going to do that no matter what. Trust me, they will. And that's what they did. And so, you know, I've been there. I knew it was fine, but I didn't really go out because honestly, if people think somehow maybe it serves as a deterrent. I don't know. But the people that have gone through there, these are people by and large that already been ordered through our system to be deported, right? So how come as a U.S. citizen, if a court orders you to pay rested, you have to do it, right? How come they wouldn't have to do it? So that, and then you had a lot of people with criminal records. So I think the enforcement stuff as things that we've done has been beneficial. I think it upholds the rule of law. And I also think it's just a situation is, you know, we have limited housing supply. We have limited services, schools, all this stuff. It does impact the communities when you have open borders. Now, in terms of the broader question, you know, why are you doing the immigration? Is it a foreigner has a right to come? Some of these people say that they're entitled. I reject that. No foreigner has a right. Just as like imagine if I went to France and said I have a right to be in France and work, and they would laugh at you, right? And so we're not citizens of the world. We're Americans, and that needs to mean something. I don't think mass immigration, you know, we can't just reproduce like Mogadishu in the United States. That's not going to work. What Europe has done shows you the wrong way to do immigration. We have in a situation where if there's situations where that can help the American people, we're the best place in town. We have an ability to leverage that. But I think the way it's been applied, particularly with Biden and to a certain extent Obama, to be honest with you, has not been conducive to assimilation and has not been geared towards helping the American people do better. And I kind of felt like most of American history, it was always about, you know, what's going to be best for the people that are already here. I think President Trump is trying to reformulate that. I think the media is going to attack. They're going to demagogue, and we'll see how it all plays out. But making sure we're upholding the rule of law, making sure that our citizenship really means something, and making sure that we're incentivizing people to do it the right way, I do think are important.